You want to become a god of defense like Lee Chong-wei and master that badminton smash dive defense? Well, worry no further because today we're going to show you the 5 most essential drills to mastering the badminton smash dive defense. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and watch the end of this video. First drill is called the Spider-Man, and what the Spider-Man essentially is a half dive version of the full dive. And why we want to start with the half dive: first, it's more realistic to use half dives in games, and second, we need to learn the half dive before the full dive to prevent injury. So for this drill, we want to start in our neutral position. If you're right-handed, your right leg's going to be slightly in front of your left. Now, in order to start the half dive, the Spider-Man, we're going to come squat down first, and then we're going to reach out into a lunge position all the way to our right. Now, once we've reached out, we want to make sure we drop our racket so that our racket does not protrude our hand and injure our hand. We drop our racket, and then from this position, we're going to be using our momentum to slide our whole body over to this position. And in full speed, it should look something like this. For our backhand side, it's essentially the same thing. It's just that on finishing, we're going to be facing away from the net. So we reach out in our lunge position. After we hit, we drop our racket. And when we turn, because our momentum's coming this way, our whole body is going to be sliding over this way into little booty twerk. And in full speed, it's going to look like this. When doing this drill, you want to really make sure that you want to have a center of gravity focus, and you don't want to be flopping around. That way, you can have very quick recoveries. And one thing that's also important, when you're going outwards, you want to make sure you're using your momentum to follow, because if you're not, then you're just putting a lot of weight on your arms, and that's going to cause injury. Our second drill is to build on our half dive, moving into the full dive. Now the concept is the same, but this is also significantly harder. In order to do this drill, we're going to start off exactly the same in our neutral position. We're going to go into our squat, but this time when we go out, we can hit our bird and throw our racket out a little bit early, and we want to go into a full push-up position and then come down. And then from this position, we want to do a burpee and then come back to center. So it's very hard to demonstrate this without a bird because this is a very last desperation shot. But quickly, you should essentially be coming out quickly, into a push-up position, and then burping back. And then same for this side. You squat down, come up into a quick push-up position, and then you burpee back. When you're doing this drill, it's very essential that when you're going down into your push-up position, you are using that momentum and you're dissolving that momentum downwards. Otherwise, if you strike the ground too hard, you're gonna have a lot of elbow injury. That's not good. So make sure you come down slowly and then you come up quickly with a burpee. Now that we've learned the basics of how to do the dive, it's time to practice hitting the shot in the dive. In order to do this drill, we're gonna be starting in our neutral position, and our feeder is gonna be standing right in front of us with the row of birds. What our feeder is gonna be doing is throwing it to us left and right, and we're gonna be going out and hitting it first before we go into our Spider-Man dive defense. And it's gonna look something like this. When you're doing this drill, make sure your feeder is throwing at a sharp enough angle and far enough away from you, and really make sure hit the shot before you land on the ground. Our first drill is going to build on our previous drill, but this time make it a little bit more realistic as we set ourselves off balance before we do the dive. When doing this drill, it's going to be the exact same thing as the previous drill, but if we're moving to the right hand side, what we're going to do is first fake to the left hand side, so we lose our balance to this side, and then we'll be going to the right. And that's going to be much more realistic in terms of doing dive defense in gameplay. Our last drill will give us the 2 most important physical exercises that we need to train before we do our dives, because doing dives is very physically demanding. And one, it can cause a lot of injury if you do it correctly. Second, it's very exhausting to do it repeatedly. So you want to make sure you do these 2 physical exercises to train for it. Our first exercise is, of course, doing burpees. As you saw earlier, burpees are very important in our recovery. So when we do our burpees, we want to make sure we come out into a full extension. And when we land, we want to land all the way down so that we can practice coming down with our arms. And from this full extension position, we come up into a tuck, and then we want to do a full jump. Because after our defense, we want to come up and attack that point for the winning shot. So, in fastest time, it should look like this. good benchmark to do for burpees is 30 in a row, and that's when you know you'll be okay starting to do some dives. Our second exercise is going to be clap push-ups. Like I showed you before, we do a lot of landing like this, so we need to get used to coming down from the aerial position into our push-ups. So that's what clap push-ups are going to be helping us to do, and it's going to look like this. I would say a good amount to do for clap push-ups is around 15 to 20 in a row. That was the 5 most essential drills you'll need to mastering that badminton smash dive defense just like Lee Wei. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what tutorial you want to see next.